It's the Slam Dunk.
Now, I'm a firm believer in not forcing anyone to do anything except maybe for the concept of saving. It's probably quite good for you. But in their deluded state, Auckland University boffins and wonks have failed to read the room and failed to get the hint. And they've made it compulsory for all first-year students to study a course in the Treaty of Waitangi, or Te Tiriti. From their privileged position within the university, locked away from the real world, they've got this wrong. They are so out of touch. For goodness sake, it's not even compulsory at primary, intermediate or college level. But turn up at university and you have no academic choice or freedom, you must do it. Sorry, the time for that was perhaps a little bit earlier in my life in education. And this is going to go down like a cup of cold sick with the New Zealand public. Do it, make it earlier. It's too late. David Seymour has already said it's indoctrination and a perversion of academic freedom, and he's calling on the university to rethink. Has the university not caught up with the thinking of this government? They want less of this shoved in people's faces, not more. This is the hangover from the Jacinda Ardern era and the Willie Jackson influence of the last government. This is their work and this is their influence, which still exists, and it's hard to get rid of it. Signed up do-gooders are too scared to ditch it now in case they're labelled racists. Is it being done to spite the present government, to buy a fight intentionally, or just to peeve them off? But this is a collision course, isn't it? It's called Waipapa Taumata Ro, which is WTP. It's the course. It kicks off this semester and it's compulsory for first-year undergraduates. A university spokesperson has defended the courses, saying they are faculty-specific and relevant to the student studies. They say, quote, the courses focus on knowledge associated with this place, including Te Tiriti or Waitangi, our university, our city and our country, and why it matters for their program. ACT Party leader David Seymour, he's ropeable, saying while there's an element of truth that the University of Auckland is independent and can do what it wants, he intends to appoint better people to the University Council who have the ultimate say. Seymour's really frustrated that the university hadn't quite got the memo that there's been a change in government, that people changed the government. The course isn't cheap. International students will end up paying about $5,000 for this. Seymour says they're turned off by it and they're choosing to study elsewhere in the world. The people who host the course are largely from outside the university, and Seymour says this is largely indoctrination for political purposes, not for education. Give people the choice. What would they do then? Certainly the treaty has not just crept into our lives. This is my opinion. The treaty has not just crept into our lives in the last few years, but it's in many ways exploded onto the scene, and it's more alive and more present than it's ever been in New Zealand society. And I think New Zealanders are wary of this and have said, hang on a second, just check this for a second. Enough's enough. It's slowing us down and holding us back and adding huge costs and perhaps unnecessary work in a society that just wants to forge ahead and get out of this economic madness that we've manufactured against ourselves and created against ourselves. But you got the Reserve Bank talking about Te Tiriti. And when universities make it compulsory, something doesn't feel right. By all means, teach the treaty in its place in the New Zealand context in our schools. But force it down the throats of adults, they have no choice about it. It's a recipe for pushback and protest and disaster. Honestly, the university's out of touch. Completely out of touch with how people feel and what they want. Heavens, not even ordinary Māori are opting for this. University's expensive. The longer you spend there, the more expensive it becomes. This is weighty and costly, and it bears little resemblance to so many of the careers that they'll be going into. It's called tokenism. That's what it is, folks, tokenism of the worst kind. And the more it's pushed towards Kiwis, the more likely it is that they have become wary and they'll push back and it'll backfire. Not everyone is interested in the Māori worldview. If they are, then the course is available. Go and do it. Fill your boots. But no one should be forced to do anything at university. For instance, take a commerce degree, and under that scenario, you'd be forced to learn about running a business through the eyes of a Māori business owner in a Māori business. Just choose a business owner. Whether they be Māori, Tongan, Palangi, South African, Canadian, just choose a business owner. A business is a business. How does race make it different? Seymour is threatening to shake up the makeup of the board governing the university, and I think he should. And this man's about to become the Deputy Prime Minister and hold a much stronger and bigger influence in this government. Again, Luxon has said nothing. Why would this bother him? Once again, it's Seymour calling this out and taking a stand and putting his body in the way of the controversy. Luxon will wake up when he lands in India, no doubt, issuing some mid-joint sort of position, midland position, which we would have to interpret as fence-sitting. Meanwhile, the slide into treaty mania continues. The Auckland University would do well to sniff the political breeze, in my view, and realise it's a red rag to a bull. And it's in a fight with this government that I can tell you now it will not win. Any other week, it won't win that fight. The public are fed up. The government's driven largely by Winston and Seymour, and they mean business on this stuff. They may wish to dump their do-gooder pander to Māori approach to this university because the masses simply don't want it. especially in these sort of busy lives that we live in, that have become so busy and complex. The last thing that they want to do is to be told to sit down, pay through the nose for a course about the treaty that they're not interested in. Let's say you're studying computer science or chemical engineering or accountancy. How is the treaty relevant to any of that? Many universities say the students arriving these days can barely read and write. Standards have dropped so low. Maybe focus on the basics. Might help us get ahead rather than forcing students to be in a lecture theatre or a marae who don't wish to be there. It's a complete waste of time and money. And once again, in a fight to be, the best in the world, we drop back just a little bit further. To the University of Auckland, drop the PC nonsense and get back to the business of preparing our students, your students, to be world leaders in their fields, not compulsory activists at home. Okay? Get on with the job.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.